Hey there, Instagram. What's going on? Let me make sure my volume is up while Instagram goes out and finds my folks. How's it going, everybody, on this Friday? You guys enjoying this week? You ready for this weekend? That's what it is. Are you ready for this weekend? Hey, Regina, how are you? Hey, Untamed Opulent Beauty, how are you? Thank you for joining. DNC Accounting, Nicole, how are you? Keisha West, how are you? Thank you guys for joining me. I've been found. New Beginnings Professionals, how are you? So listen, guys, thank you for jumping in. Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you tag a few people, ask them to come on in the room? We're going to be talking about scaling. That's right. We're talking about scaling with systems and automation. And I have a guest. Hey, Larry, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. So good to see you on this thread. Hopefully you have been doing well, my brother. Good to see you. And Tiffany, I see that you have joined us as well. So listen, guys, we are going to be talking about automation. We're going to be talking about how do we leverage and how do we scale our organization by adding systems into our organization that are much needed and by automating. One thing that I know when we talk about automation, we're talking about a machine that automatically runs without us doing anything. All right, so my guests will be joining me momentarily, but let me introduce myself to those of you who are on this thread, who are joining this live for the very first time. I am Dr. Cozette M, America's #1 tax and accounting strategist. I work with 6- and 7-figure CEOs to help them scale in their organization, to help them grow, to help them look at those key performance indicators that they need to look at to drive their business so that they are not leaving money on the table, to help them slash that tax liability bill, and to help them drive their organization so that they are increasing that bottom line, that net profit, that net income, so that that number is doubling year over year over year. I also work with my awesome CEOs, my CPAs, my EAs, and my tax pros, you all. And what I do with them, we offer resources, we offer tools, we offer continuing education courses, and I also coach those individuals, coach them to success with things such as making sure that they have their automation in place so that they are getting back their time, getting back their freedom, not spending as much time in the office doing the same things over and over again because they have not automated things in their organization. All right, so yes, I wear a couple of hats, but I love what I do, you guys. I am so passionate about the work that I do. I left corporate America specifically to help my small business owners. Yes, I played with the numbers in corporate day in and day out. I got tired of it, and I was like, let me help the small business owner who really needs the help to grow his or her organization. What I do know is that if we don't have systems in place and if we are not automated, then we waste a lot of our valuable time. But when we implement those things, it helps our organization. So I want to find my guest. Tiffany, where are you? Your favorite tax lady. Where are you, Tiffany? Why don't you go ahead and join me? Tiffany is going to be joining me. She is in Kentucky. I had to think for a minute there, Tiffany. Tiffany is in Kentucky. Hey, CET Consulting. Why don't you guys let me know where you are chiming in from? And share this with your friends. Let your friends know to come on into this conversation. I'm waiting for Tiffany to join me. There she goes. There she goes. As Tiffany comes on in the room, Tiffany Williams, all the way from
Hey,
Kentucky.
y'all.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
Hey.
Financial.
It's the
Hey.
thick of tax season.
Yes, we are definitely in the thick of tax season. Ooh. Okay, I don't know what happened. Thank you so much, girl, for jumping on with me. I do appreciate this. Let our viewers know where you are chiming in from. I know where you're chiming in from, but just tell them where you're at and tell them a little bit about you and what you do. who you
Yes,
serve.
yes. First, I want to thank you so much for everything that you do. You have definitely been a vital, vital asset in just helping me be prepared for exactly what we're talking about today with the automations. And just thank you for all you do and just being a great motivator and just like being just a wealth of knowledge. I just appreciate you so much. But I am Tiffany Williams, your favorite tax lady. I am in Lexington, Kentucky. I own several offices here. And pretty much we service majority lower income families, earned income families. And we also specialize in doing taxes for construction workers, helping them scale their businesses to six figures by saving and implementing tax strategies to save them over at least $50,000 a year. So that's what we do here in Kentucky.
Did I hear
Yes,
you say
50,000
50,000 a
tax
year?
savings.
Did you guys hear that?
Yes,
She said
yes.
strategies. All right, so let's jump into this conversation. So you're joining us, CET from North Carolina. Thank you, thank you. Hey, Candace, thank you. I know you're in California with me, but I so appreciate all of you that are on this thread with Tiffany and I. So Tiffany, let's talk about automation because give them a little bit of background. I'll share what I know. Tiffany came to me a couple of years ago because she needed some assistance in really it was transitioning from a brick and mortar and putting systems in place to go virtual. Now, what I do know about Tiffany is she still, as she said, she has multiple locations, but there are times when she, as the CEO of her organization
Yes.
and some of her staff, they work virtual. So overcoming that
Yes.
obstacle was a bit overwhelming for Tiffany. And so what I can say, and Tiffany, you can chime in, is that she needed systems in place to properly serve her clients there so that it was being done effectively and efficiently. And she needed to do so in a cost so that it was not costing her organization any more money because she had the two locations, the virtual location, working from home, as well as going into the office. So let's talk about that. What systems did you actually implement or what automations did you actually
Yeah,
implement
so
to help
exactly
streamline your
like you said, like I
organization?
was blessed that I had reached out to you, and I think like a month after we had stopped working together and implemented everything, the pandemic hit, and how grateful I was to be prepared for that because, like you said, I was very traditional as far as how I operated my tax service. At that time, I think 95% of my clients came into the office, but we were also realizing at that time that we were missing opportunities for, you know, the busy worker, or especially where we work with a lot of construction workers. A lot of them didn't have time to sit down and come to the office and things like that. So that was one of the reasons why at that time I think I was doing everything very old school, still paper, still, I think even at that time I was probably still doing my scheduling of write it on a calendar. You know? So some of the stuff for us was just
Right.
even first you helped me, even it started even before the customers. We had to get an onboarding process in place just with my employees. Because at that time, my human resources paperwork was all over the place. Some people had signed stuff, some people hadn't. And I learned the hard way when I needed to hold people accountable that, oops, I never got that documentation or I never got this. So by having the automation system just in place with my HR, with my employees, you know, as soon as they get it, as soon as they start, they immediately get an onboarding email. They have a platform where they upload their documents and I don't have to worry, oh, did I get that W-4 or did I get that ID and things like that. So even for us, we had to start with my employees and implement the correct systems for them and then work our way down to the customers. So even like I said, something, and I think at the time I had systems, but nothing was communicating with anything. You know what I'm saying? So it was like the scheduling was its own
Right.
world. The tax software was its own world, the intake process, the auditing. So that's another thing that just, even though you may have different systems, putting measurements in place to help everything communicate with each other. That way, those little things don't fall through the cracks. Like the same thing, you know, that you got all the documentation from the customers, but then you don't have to manually do those reminders because having those automations in place, it'll automatically send them, even just the appointment reminders. I can say that when I kept track of them, just by having that correct scheduling system in place, now I use Simply Book Me, but it allowed our missed appointments to decreased by 50% of how many people we were having just miss appointments, because now they are getting those email reminders, they're getting those text reminders. So it's just so many elements that I think a lot of times we think of automations just on the onboarding side, but it's a lot of things that we need to put in place even before we get that customer in the door. So
Right, right. A lot of touch points that need to be done with our customers. So when we automate, and we're talking about specifically right now, the onboarding, you all, when you onboard your clients, you need to have systems in place that will do the work for you. The more time you and or your staff spend touching different documents in
yep,
the office, that's not cost effective. So the automation is setting
yep,
it up once the first time,
yep,
and it triggers the next step and a trigger to the next step and a trigger to the next step. Once you automate, it's doing it automatically. When you put those two words together,
yep.
auto and it's automation is automatically doing the steps for you. Okay. So Tiffany, I also recall when you and I went through our VIP day that there was
Yep.
problems with the employees, and you needed the same thing as you just said. I needed systems in place so that I am documenting when an employee doesn't show up, when an employee is not performing to his or her potential.
Yep.
How do I write them up? How do I do all of these things? That is also part of automation, you all, not just from the customers. We're bringing on new employees. We need systems in place so that we don't miss things. You know, yes, I just heard you, Tiffany, and I know you said you had old things in place where you were physically writing down, you were physically jotting things
Yes.
down. Guess what? That gets lost in the
Yep.
sauce. It gets lost in the sauce. So by putting these automations in place, these systems in place, what can you say has been a shift in your
I would say
organization?
for
What has
us, it
actually
allowed us to
changed?
grow, because another blessing of the pandemic was we grew. Now we were in a position where with the same amount of staff, I was able to grow by almost 40%. But that was because so many things were automated that we were doing manually. So it kind of, and then from a labor standpoint, that also saved me a lot of money in payroll, because now a lot of things that I was doing manually or paying somebody to do manually, now the systems are automatically doing. So on the front end, sometimes it might feel like, ooh, this is a pretty investment, you know, a nice and costing investment. But I could say on the back end, it saved me thousands. And then, like you said, there was plenty of times there was probably customers falling through the cracks that maybe had made an appointment, or we double booked. Like, it took all of that away from us. So a lot faster and more efficiently.
Right, because when you think about having an onboarding process and it's automated, it also
Yeah.
helps your client with the customer experience, and it should reduce the issues that you may have with the clients,
Yeah.
whereby you're missing collecting the payment, or whereby you thought you had documentation on something, but it was not there. Automation triggers you as well as the client
Yep.
to say, here's the next step, here's the next step. Okay. But
Yep.
I just love automation. I have a team, but most of the team is virtual. And so you guys know, or you know, that I've been virtual since 2006. I've been working from home, you guys, since 2006. So when we had to be forced to work from home in 2020 when the
Yeah.
pandemic hit, it wasn't a struggle for me. I had my systems in place. I was already automated. So what I did have to transition was the clients that were coming into the office. We had to
Yeah.
shift the way we handled those individuals because they were not accustomed to uploading documentation, uploading and figuring out what's next. So it was a mind shift for them, and it was a training process for them. So what tips would you say to anyone who's out there not only in the tax industry, because that's what you and I work in. We work in the tax industry, you all. And for those of you who are just joining, make sure you follow Tiffany at your favorite tax. Is it your favorite tax lady? Yes, at your favorite tax lady. And listen, stop right now what you're doing and make sure you follow her at your favorite tax lady. Make sure you guys give us some love. What tips would you say to anyone that is struggling with feeling a bit unorganized and all over the place right now?
I would just write down like what your ideal tax service would look like. And I think that's honestly what you had me do first is if you had unlimited resources, if you had unlimited money, what does your ideal tax service look like? I think sometimes we don't even know where to start with automations because we don't even know the picture. So I think first knowing the picture clearly then helped, then we went through and I was able to really see, okay, now that I know the picture, what do I need to make all this come true? And you will realize once you see and understand the picture, it's really not that hard. But sometimes it's hard because we don't even know the picture, the vision. What are we trying to accomplish here? And then another thing that helped me is even once everything got set up is I walked through the experience as though I was my customer. Because even initially some things sounded great, but then as I walked through the experience as my customer, I'm like, ooh, this automation isn't kind of working the way I need to, or I need to add this. I think I didn't even know about engagement letters until I worked with you. You know what I'm saying? And the importance of engagement letters and having that communication. I'm just going straight in with the intake form, So even just knowing that even once you set up those automations, it's okay to tweak it and customize it and things, because my automation may not look the same as your automation or the next person, but that's not saying anything is wrong with it. You have to customize it to what your company, your type of niche that you're servicing, what type of area you may be in, because that was definitely a challenge with us. We're in a smaller town, so getting people acclimated to just being on the computer first was like, what, so just knowing your area and what the people look for and providing that education. And then you also have to be all in. If you're hesitant or you don't believe in the system, your staff's not going to believe in it, and your clientele definitely is not going to believe in it. So you have to be all in and willing to make changes as you're going through the process. Because even now, I feel like it's improved over the years, but there's still times where I'm like, oh, we need to tweak this or add this. And so just always be open, but it is worth it. It is definitely worth the investment, the time consuming. If you have a call in, it may not hit you as drastically because there's automations in place to kind of help you. So
you said a couple of things.
Yes.
You said education with your clients. Listen, guys, for those of you, I don't know if you are aware of this, but to ease some of the pain on us as the business owner, we can do tutorials, a video that will allow our customers to get from step A to Z a lot smoother. We have to also think about the customer. How is it that the customer processes? How is it that the customer is receiving this? And we also have to think automation is tough for some, but it does help with the business. So we need to think about some of the things that we can implement to help customers of all ages. What I do know for sure is that our more mature, our senior individuals, for some reason, they struggle with uploading data into the system. So something as easy and simple as a video, they can watch a video sometimes to help them walk through what does it look like for me to upload these tax documents. You talked about engagement letter. For those of you who are unfamiliar with an engagement letter, it sets the terms. It sets the scope of the task that you are going to be doing with your client. We're talking specifically about taxes. So an engagement letter should outline what it is that you are doing. Are you doing 2022 taxes only? Are you doing an audit? Are you performing an audit? Are you doing tax planning? What is it that you are specifically doing? It outlines the scope. It talks about the due date, how it's going to be delivered, the price, what payment terms are there. And also for those of you who are doing taxes, there's also a line item in our engagement letter that states, please ensure that you secure your documents in a location where you can actually find them. If you need a duplicate copy, guess what? I'm more than happy. The staff here is more than happy to issue a duplicate copy, but there is a fee. So it outlines everything, you guys, so that the communication is being shared up front. What are the expectations? What are you expecting of me? What am I expecting of you? I'm letting you know you signed that engagement letter. I'm going to say this. Our engagement letter stipulates payment is due in full at the time of service. We do not offer bank services, unlike some of our colleagues, but that is in our engagement letter. We don't have the struggle that I see most of our clients, or my colleagues, shall I say, experience when they talk about collecting the bag or not getting paid or doing a quote and then someone going elsewhere. Listen, guys, set the expectations that you want, set the boundaries that you want in your firm so that your clients can, you know, follow the guidelines, follow the rules, the policies, etc. So another thing that you said, which triggered, when we have those automations, what can help individuals have a smooth tax season when they're bringing on new employees? It's something that we all use and something that we all hate to do. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
SOPs.
Yes. It's worth it in the end, but it's, yeah, in the beginning creating them, but it's very, very good to have. Like even now I tell my staff all the time, there's an SOP for that. There's an SOP for that. Yes.
It is, and if it's not an SOP, then we need to start having a sheet or an Excel spreadsheet or a spreadsheet where we can just jot down 1 through 10 and jot down those steps really quickly. Or, guys, there's a tool called Loom, as well as Zoom, as well as our iPhones and our Androids, where we can record steps and have that transcribed. Okay, it all helps with the efficiencies in the office. It all helps to make the workplace much better. And it also helps our customers have a better customer experience. What you got going on in your world besides taxes?
Exciting outside of taxes? We're in the office actually right now. This is one of the also added to our automation system. As soon as they sign in,
they wave it back
but as soon as they sign in, it automatically puts them in the automation system. So we've taken automation very, very seriously because it really, really helps a lot. But no, nothing else going on but in the tax world. But we're
listen, she just said something, you guys. I don't know if you caught on to that, but she said when the clients come in, they sign in, and that automatically puts them into the system. That's also another way to automate and build your list so that customers are being triggered to your list. And if you have automation set up, there's emails going out to your customers ongoing. For all of you, automation, it's part of the client experience. When you set your clients up, even when they leave, automation, email list, an email sequence, automation, it's automatically going out. You guys, I'm giving up too much information, but listen, you need to have about 52 weeks worth of emails that automatically go out throughout the year. Tiffany just said her clients sign in. Once they sign in, their name is on the list, their email and whatnot, they're on her mailing list. They start getting communication about what's going on in the taxes world, what's new, what's changing. Summer comes around, Tiffany can be in Hawaii. An email is going out telling them to schedule their mid-year tax planning. All right. These are things that we talk when we're talking about automation. We're talking about all of these things that help the office run a lot smoother.
Also helps you generate money outside of tax season, because that was one of the struggles that you were helping me with. Is I was always so focused on just getting money during the tax season, but by having those automations, like you said, I'm generating additional money just and I'm not even remember, like, buy this product or this reminder or this checklist or set this appointment and things like that. But then I don't even have to think about it no more. My calendar literally stays booked. This year I didn't take a break, but a lot of it came from automations. It wasn't even me, you know, having to go out and promote a lot. Like once I got them in the system, the automations was reeling them in to be more than just a tax client. Now they're buying additional services, and now I finally have products. They're buying those, but it all stems from getting them in your automation. So thank you.
Right. So throughout the year, you are so welcome. Throughout the year, some of those triggers could be set your appointment for tax planning. It could be, don't forget, we have this book on, you know, whatever it is. So yes. For you guys who are just chiming in, I am Dr. Cozette M, America's #1 tax and accounting strategist. I work with our tax and accounting professionals to help them grow their business, to help them scale and leverage. We do this by looking into what's the mindset, you guys? What's the mindset? And one thing that I do know is that the mindset can prevent us from moving forward. When we don't have automation in place, it prevents us from having that time freedom. We want back our time. We want back our the capability to go off on the weekends and spend time with our family. One thing that I do recall, Tiffany, is you were working on Saturdays and Sundays. You were coming in on Sunday to check the work of your staff, and you were in there the vast majority of the day because I simply remember our VIP day was on a Sunday because that was the only day that you had free. And I remember I freed my calendar up to do work on a weekend, to work on the weekend. So when we have automation, it frees up our time, you all. Okay. Implementing strategies. Okay. Tiffany and I talked about strategies today, a strategy for automation, a strategy. Putting together a flow chart. What does it look like when the client comes in? What happens? We need to put that into a flow, to jot it down. Also, our pricing. I work with our clients to help them on their pricing. One thing that I can say, clients love me in that area, how to scale when it comes to pricing. You know, a lot of times we're afraid to raise our prices, but we must do it. I also help with scaling with the systems, the automation, and the team. And I work with our clients who are beyond that 6 figures. Most of our clients that I work with are somewhere close to the 200,000 mark or above, scaling so that they are moving towards that next level. I can't tell you what your next level is, but I know that I work to push you to that next level. Sometimes I work with clients who are right at the tip of the iceberg. They're right there at $1 million, but they don't have a strategy in place to help them get over the hump. Those are the clients that I work with in the tax and accounting industry that are really looking to next level. Those that are stuck and ready to go to unstoppable is who I work with. And I'm sharing this with you guys because we have Thrive Live, which is May 11th through the 13th. If I'm speaking to you, if you are that individual that says, I'm at the 450K mark, but I just don't know how to get beyond that. I don't know what systems that I need to put in place. I don't know how to leverage what I'm already working with so that I can get to $1 million and get there with grace and ease and not work 80 hours a week. Those are the clients that I work with. They are looking to change the trajectory of their organization by doing something different. They're stuck. Okay. Listen, guys, Thrive Live is May 11th through 13th. You can click the button in my link in my bio up there to get all the information about the conference. We are also on day 0. If you come to day 0, you will have an opportunity to earn continuing education hours. I have some retired, I'm going to say some retired IRS folks who will be teaching, some phenomenal women who will be there teaching things that we in this industry need to understand, whether you are a CPA, an enrolled agent, or a tax professional. There's a seat in the room for you. All right, listen, guys, I thank you, Tiffany, for just jumping on here. I know you and I went back and forth. I was like, wait, is this auto? And she got everything on automation because every time I send her something, it's automation. I need a real person. I need a real person. But wait, every time I emailed her or put a message in the DM, it was automated. She told me, we're out of the office right now. Here's how you can contact us, yada, 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 yada. And so, like, I was trying to get Tiffany, and I was like, will she get this doggone automation off of here? Will she get this automation off of here? We're going to have a conversation about that. But no, you were letting the clients know, like, I don't hang out on social media. I'm doing work, but here's how you can connect with me. And I love it. So guys, make sure you follow Tiffany, your favorite tax lady. Make sure you continue to stay on my page and follow me for more tips, more conversation, thriving conversations just like this. And don't forget, click the link. If you are looking to bridge the gap, if you are looking to do something different in your tax firm when tax season is over, because for most of us, we will know where we are come April 15th, come May 15th. We will have a good idea where our revenue is going to take us for the duration of the year. If you haven't missed your goal, or if you're not sure how to even get to that next level, I encourage you to join us at Thrive Live. It's a room full of individuals just like you, just like me, who are looking to next level. And I want to help you bridge the gap. I want to be the person to help you take you to the next level. All right. So thanks again, Tiffany. I know you're busy. I hope you're not working on the weekends. I'm going to put my
Not
head like this.
Sundays,
Are you
but
still working on
Saturdays,
Sundays?
yeah. We're making.
Okay. I can understand Saturdays. You have a brick and mortar and clients come into the office. I've actually streamlined everything. I only work my Monday through Friday. I do not work on the weekends. That's my time freedom with my family. And so I love it. And I don't even answer the phone on the weekends at this point. I do come in here sometime and work, occasionally, but that's my way of gaining back my time, my freedom, and streamlining what I do in the office. And that's what I want our tax professionals to do, not always be in that hustle mode.
I definitely know that
get away from
finding that balance, because even sometimes when we're in here and we're working too much, sometimes you tend to make more mistakes too. So yeah, I'm gonna get there though. I got just shave off them Saturdays, but I definitely know it'll make a difference for sure.
Right. And I'm sure I want you to take some time for yourself, because there's peaks and valleys in, the peak months, the peak weeks of tax season. And then when we have that drop, make sure you take a few days for self-care, because self-care is important.
Real.
And burnout is real. It's real. It is real. So keep up the good work. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who, if any of this resonated with anything that I said, if it resonated with you, head on up to the link and find out more information about Thrive Live. And I will catch you guys on the next live. All right. Take care. All right.